guys are going to get canceled real fast. Do not say that.
If it happens, I'm going to call every woman in my phone that's within like a 20-mile radius. Kirsty's like third on the list. This table, if
This
you think
table
about
right
it,
here, Spread Eagle.
That's fine.
What?
Is that not how it goes? No. If I'm home alone, the only cure I know for that situation is duct tape.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to That GD Podcast. I'm Jay Ray. I'm with my good friends, Kyle and Andy.
Is our name the GD podcast?
Yeah, That GD Podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Girl Dad.
Girl Dad. That's what GD stands for.
I'm
Girl
behind
Dad.
on all this, so.
Oh,
That's
good
okay.
to hear. I thought that was well known.
I thought it was too.
I thought it was the Girl Dad podcast.
I'm pretty sure you knew that at some point.
Yeah, it's That GD
That
Podcast.
GD podcast.
That GD podcast? Okay.
Yeah, That Girl Dad Podcast. Anyway, did you bring any whiskey?
I did. I brought I had a birthday recently, and I was gifted this by a good friend named Matt, Castle and Key. And I had it Sunday, but I was extremely tipsy while I had it on Sunday, so I don't remember how good it was.
Yeah.
And
Hey, when did Matt come over?
Matt gave me that on Thursday. Friday. And then I opened it while drinking too much of all the other whiskeys. That was loud. Here, everybody take an ice ball.
Just for reference, we celebrated Andy's birthday by me not moving off of his couch for a solid 5 hours while watching football.
It was fantastic.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. What's sad is I had a really good time, and I'm glad everybody came over, but I don't think I saw any football. I certainly don't remember any football.
Well, that's because you were already drunk and drinking whiskey.
You get one?
I did get one.
Yeah. And I started with whiskey early that day, and I never felt drunk.
Yeah, what was that, dude? He brought over some whiskey, and the first drink I see you have is just straight whiskey?
Whiskey on ice. I mean,
Well,
when I lived in Texas, I had like Jack and Coke. And then when I moved up here, a buddy of mine, Matt, who you know, he started shaming me for putting anything in my whiskey. He's still shaming me for putting ice. Like, he thinks I should have it room temperature, and I won't do that.
I'm a neat guy.
See, I can't do that. I'm
Neat
king of the
is
ice ball, but
no ice.
No ice.
yeah.
Oh,
Warm whiskey.
Room temperature.
Room temperature.
Terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. In this room, it's still pretty cold.
That's not bad. But yeah, so he made me into kind of a whiskey snob where now I drink my whiskey on ice, and it's been fun.
Wait. We got to clap. 1, 2. Jeez. Clap in the mic so we have
Okay.
that sign about 1, 2, 3. Close enough.
I was late. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's what the pot will do to you.
Yeah.
About 30 seconds early and then about a second too late.
Yeah.
You're getting better.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that whiskey. That's compliments of Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
It's good stuff.
Castle and key.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be a key on here somewhere. There is a key in the door.
Yeah.
Take out that cork real quick and just feel how heavy the cork. I think it's weighted. There's
He's
lead
going
in
on
it.
about that cork heaviness again.
Oh, dang.
That's heavier than a cork's supposed to be.
I felt it. He already
Yeah.
explained this to me. It's a heavy cork.
I think they're trying to do the whole like weight means quality.
Yeah.
It's a marketing thing. I don't know.
You
It's,
did.
it's not to make your butthole like stronger. It's not like Kegels for your butthole.
I haven't tested that yet. If you want to test it, you can keep that bottle, and I'll just get a different one.
Yeah. Don't reuse it.
Yeah. No.
There you go.
You did explain that a
keep this
friend
here.
named Matt gave it to you, but immediately went into the name of the whiskey, and you said, this came from a friend, Matt Castle and Key. And
Yeah, I was like, who's
Yeah,
that?
Matt
the
Key.
hell is
Good-
that?
Good guy. He's got a daughter, but also a son, so he's not allowed to be on the
Not
podcast.
allowed here.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So,
This is-
but no, I knew I had a bit of a. I guess I have a drinking problem. I'm starting to realize because for my birthday, I mainly got whiskey.
Well.
So I have several bottles of whiskey at home now that seem to be the go-to gift for me. So
I think it's class. I don't think it's
It's not a problem.
addiction.
feeling excited about it.
It's not a problem.
Justin, J. Ray.
Yeah.
Would you like to give a little rundown of what we're doing here?
Yeah,
Give the people a
so
taste.
we're 3 dudes with only daughters, and we figured, you know what? What is it like being a girl dad? And we're going to give you the worst tips ever
Yeah, don't
on how to live life with daughters. So I have 3 daughters. Kyle, you have 2 daughters, and Andy's got 1 daughter. So it's like a whole gamut.
And I raised my daughter as I would have a son, so I don't think I'm gonna be on the same level as you guys. But I'm.
Have you met my oldest?
Yeah, no, I love the way what you did with Abby. So
There's a lot of mistakes that happen within that, but
yeah.
some successes happened accidentally on the way.
Lots of successes, lots of successes.
Just
A couple.
bit, yeah.
So yeah, I've raised mine completely different than both of them. So you get a nice gamut of how to raise a kid. But I'm not going to teach you how to raise a kid.
No.
But we'll just tell you funny stories.
Let's just tell you where we messed up, and then hopefully the listener will not make the same mistake.
or do.
Yeah. It's easy.
So
They're all good kids, I will say. somewhat non-objectively, they're all really good kids.
I'd second that. Mine's becoming a smartass, but so far she's doing good.
But I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that.
You have that. Abby gives me shit and then like intimidates me into not saying anything. So I mean, I appreciate that. And she's 13?
Not yet. 12.
She's
12. Don't tell anybody.
She has like bowed up on me before, and I've just been like, leave me alone, Abby. Like, I'm not doing this. And
I'm pretty sure her and Justin haven't said a word to each other in like 6 months. It is just
Body checking.
It is just body checking.
100%.
it's a way to communicate. I like it.
Yeah.
It's very Neanderthal-like, and yeah.
It works because we can tap back into that part of our brains.
Absolutely. Like, growing up with like dude friends being a guy, like that's what you did. Like body checked each other, punched, whatever, and
Touched each other's balls.
right. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that's what I have with Abby, but then you just dropped the touch the balls comment. So
It's straight up some caveman like DNA that's still in us. Because as a kid, if you're a group of guys and you see a hill, like without even saying it, the instinct is that like I need to get to the top of that hill and then defend my position while everybody tries to King of the Hill. I don't know if you guys ever played.
yeah, exactly.
no.
King of the Hill,
But yeah, and it's
This
just
still
it's one of
happens?
those like where a house cat that's always been a house cat sees a bird outside and it just knows somehow that it wants to kill the bird. I think we have some of that same caveman DNA.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So does Abby.
Abby's a caveman. Congratulations.
Okay. So are we going to introduce ages and names?
Sure. I don't. I mean, like the names will come up eventually,
Yeah,
probably.
that's what-
and for sake of like clarity, so I mean, if you want me to go first, I have 3 daughters. They're 12, 9, and 4. Ainsley, Amelia, Letty.
Yeah. I have 2 daughters. I have Abby, who's 12, about to be 13, and Carter, who's 8, about to be 9.
And I have Lennon, who is 9, about to be 10 in less than 2 months. 2 months till she's 10. So
Yeah. He's got a few weeks
Yeah.
till she's 13. I think I can speak and say that I know what it's like to have lived with a teenager for a while already, though.
Yeah. For reference, it's February 31st.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
That way no one knows.
I can assure you there will be plenty of stories told, especially about Abby in this podcast. She is an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of psychopathic nature with every one of our daughters.
I'm excited for the teen years. Like from what I hear, the teen years, my wife and daughter, like the estrogen in the house is going to battle, and she's going to become like my best friend, while her and my wife. Is that true?
So backwards so far.
Okay.
So backwards so far.
She doesn't like you?
No, I'm good. We're good. We're solid. We still butt heads just like we always have in a really healthy-ish way, I feel like.
The ladies are bonding though.
But they're getting closer.
Okay.
Which I feel like is a credit to the communication of my wife, letting her know what's happening during this portion of her life. And it's not a secret to her what's going on. It hasn't been. Thanks to Red for that too, the dual parenting.
I'm going to jump on that real quick. My wife told me that at a soccer practice recently, they were talking about the talk, and one of the parents had already given the talk to their child, and then I guess some other parents were like, yeah, me too. And I was like, she's 9.
What talk?
What's the talk?
The sex talk.
The sex talk.
Yeah.
Damn.
The birds and the
Yeah,
bees.
not yet.
Okay, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not at 9.
So, that was my response was like, she's 9. That's too early. And then my wife was like, that's what I thought. But all these moms were saying, I don't know how many moms it was. But then I'm now polling people about this. And apparently 9 is about the age. And like, I'm freaked out about how me and my daughter are going to communicate after this. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it happening now, but I also don't think I'd be a fan of it happening ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it has to happen. It does happen.
But if 9's too early, 12.
Nine's too early.
What's the right? Is 10, 11?
I mean,
14.
get to the reproductive years, honestly. It's uncomfortable to say that even, but
After
feel like
after the period.
yeah.
My thought about I guess kids experimenting sexually, like the timeline has moved up dramatically from what I remember. Like
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What were you telling us the other day, though?
a dad that I know who has an older daughter, one of the older daughter's friends was 14 and got caught having sex in the elevator at school.
I remember that shit from middle school, though.
I don't at all.
From middle school?
Yeah.
I think it depends on where you went to school, because I
up the
kissed a
road?
girl my sophomore year. Like that was
Yeah, but
I
we
was
sucked.
15.
We were not cool.
I guess not.
We were
that's
not
true.
cool in that way.
Yeah, no balls.
No. I mean, physically, yeah, they're there. They're there.
No balls.
Emotionally, no. Not at that age. Hell no. I had no confidence in that whatsoever.
Yeah, no, that's. I thought I had more time, but when he tells me that about 14-year-olds, which I know that's one case,
Yeah.
but that freaked me out because I'm like, oh, I got like 5 years or less till I at least have to be on guard, aware of it, you know?
Well, I don't think you want to wait for the last moment either.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, the elevator.
Yeah.
I don't want to have the talk. I want to be out of the house when they have the talk. Like, I want to leave for 2 or 3 days, and they give the talk right when I leave, and there's 2 days for her to process it, and then I come home and we act like it never happened.
I feel like it is important that they know that you acknowledge the fact that they have heard it, and the fact that I've had the talk.
Yeah, still
I
scary
think
for me.
I think it's like at period time because that's when there's like big consequences.
Do you think any of our kids are going to make it to period time without kind of finding out on their own, whether it be from
Right.
school or I feel like they're going to start hearing. Is it better that they hear it from us first than they start? Because somebody else, I don't know, might have been with y'all. Somebody said that the kid was they had a son that was in like 5th grade, and they got caught watching porn on another kid's phone on the back of the bus. Like the school bus driver caught a bunch of kids back there watching. Yeah.
So we grew up in the illegal download era of
How old are you again?
36.
Okay, I'm 42, and I grew up in the magazine
old.
era.
No, okay, that's fair, but I know
Yeah.
you know Napster and LimeWire.
You guys grew up
Yeah.
also in the like Skinamax, but it's fuzzy and like occasionally
No,
you would
so-
get the one clear shot.
Channel
Yeah, yeah.
98, you
I'll tell
fix
you
the
this,
rabbit ears.
My dad was Mr. Movie Guy, so we had HBO, Showtime, and Cinemax.
No.
And I had friends that I swear were using me for my house and would spend the night
Absolutely.
every
Yeah,
Friday,
would
Saturday
Absolutely.
night. Like it was known.
considering
that,
it
like,
now.
Once a month, Real Sex was on HBO, and that night I would have 4 or 5 dudes over, and we would all sit around confused watching HBO at 1 in the morning.
Yeah, those are real awkward boners.
Oh yeah, didn't. It was odd.
Nah, they weren't really awkward. You didn't know what to do with it at the time.
You 5 of them at a time. That's an awkward boner.
I don't know what to do with 5 either.
Yeah.
I have 2
And-
hands.
Too many.
Nowadays with the internet, I gotta believe that if we wait till period time, we're gonna be behind the curve. They're gonna know it.
I just remember like downloading a Linkin Park song or Pimp Juice by Nelly or something and opening that thing up and it's like, that is not a song.
There might be a song here, but that's
That
not
is-
there's
that
a
is-
video here.
That is a video. And
Yeah.
I did not mean to do that.
Dude, my senior year in
And
high
then
school,
I meant to do it afterwards.
my senior year in high school, there was a kid that was like a sophomore or a junior, and he could burn CDs. He could download off the internet, and like so, he had a master list that was like 500 songs, and you would pick 8 songs and tell him what songs you want, and give him like $15, and he would make you a CD with those 8 songs. And I thought that was magic. I was so confused as to how he was doing this. And then a couple years later, everybody had Napster. But like I remember at that time, I was like, "You're using the computer to do this?"
Yeah.
It was the most shocking thing.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And I remember having an early MP3 player.
Was it like the Zune?
Yeah, something like that. It was off brand. I think it was like $18, and it was about the size of a thimble. And the fact that I could fit now, it was smaller than
that?
Yeah, it was smaller than that. The fact that I could fit like 12 songs on that thing, and I could just shuffle that bad boy while mowing the yard. That was awesome.
Bro, I went to Korea when I was 13. I didn't have a CD player. And so my stepdad was in the Air Force. So we went to the base and we went to the BX. And my mom was like, hey, it's a 13-hour flight. Like, you're going to need something to do. Why don't you find some music? So I went and got a cassette player, right? Like an old Walkman. With really, really crappy, the biggest headphones. Kind of like what you're wearing, but really bad quality. Which, by the way, those are popular now. Anyway.
Yeah.
In my infinite wisdom at 13 years old, I was like, I just need one cassette, Korn. And I just listened to Got the Life the entire time.
Okay.
13 hours of one Korn CD. Well, cassette.
Cassette. Yeah. That's.
So I guess I didn't have an MP3. I was too poor for an MP3 player.
It was cheap. It was probably the same amount as that cassette player at the time. It was the least quality thing ever, and I'm very sure I corrupted it immediately with files from Napster or LimeWire. I was the LimeWire guy, admittedly.
Yeah.
That my poor parents' computer that just melted, like literally just melted away in front of our face. Just the viruses took it.
We had, when I was in high school, everybody I knew was just getting like a family computer in the living room, and like you could use AOL Instant Messenger. That was the thing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
my dad worked from home and bought a word processor, so it had a monitor and a keyboard and looked like a computer, but it was just like a typewriter word processor.
Okay.
And like he tricked us into being like, we have a computer now, and me and my sister could not figure out how to get online, and then eventually figured out that we did not in fact have a computer. So that was for like several years I would go to my friend's house and I'm like, can we please get in the chat room? So that was the only time I got to do
You
it.
had a fancy typewriter.
Yeah, that's all it was.
So
And 4 years difference like that. Because I'm going to be 38
So my
next
wife
week.
is 38 now,
Yeah.
and like we talk about it all the time. But there's shows that I'm like, you didn't watch Salute Your Shorts on Nickelodeon.
Oh, that's the
Yeah,
bomb.
yeah, absolutely.
so apparently then the age is not the factor there.
I watched it because my older brother was watching.
Okay, maybe that's it.
That was probably a little advanced for me.
But
how
a
old is-
4-year.
He's 4 years. 4
Yeah,
years older.
okay.
That's the thing. A 4-year age difference in that time, like that can swing a lot. Like there's certain things that she talks about, and I have no idea what she's talking about. And 4 years made the difference.
You know what's really fucked up is my kids watch the same show. My 12-year-old daughter, is watching The Proud Family right now.
The Proud Family.
Nothing?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, great. Cut that. Never
Yeah.
mind. It's not a show.
Editor, cut that out.
It's not a show. No, it was a cool show. It was. I was probably a little bit older. That's why you guys don't remember it, and probably because you weren't cool.
Sure.
Yeah, but it was a Disney show that portrayed a young black girl and her family, and it gave the shows, and it was cool because that didn't get a lot of representation at the time, and
Yeah.
and like my 12-year-old's watching it now, and they continually turn on show. Rocket Power was a thing for a while in our house.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Tommy Davidson was in Proud Family. I like him.
Heck,
Let me see here.
I don't know who that is either.
He was on in Living Color back in the day.
Oh,
He was very
did
funny. He
love
was
and loving.
very funny. Soleil Moonfry, who played I think Punky Brewster, was also on that show.
Yes.
It turns out.
Yeah.
So
Soleil.
surprised I didn't watch that.
Thank you
probably
for
old.
pausing with us as Andy checked his IMDb for The Proud Family.
I was
Nah, it's fine.
confused. I'd never heard of it. I'm kind of a TV guy, so had to know what you were watching.
You were probably 16 when this came out, though.
Yeah, and
That's
my dad had me watching like ESPN Sports Center and like The Terminator at like
you
the
were
age of
watching.
7.
You were watching Real Sex by 16.
Yeah,
so
like
you were well past
I
the
remember
Proud Family.
my dad used to like make me watch Terminator, and if I like got scared and hid my eyes, he'd like call me a little bitch basically, and it was just like, whoa, okay, like.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
can't take that. You got to watch.
Do you remember the Leprechaun movies?
Yes.
Yes.
So-
freak me out.
So I don't like scary movies to this day. Like I don't like to watch them. I don't like to be jump scared. But Leprechaun, like I would have a buddy over and my sister, and like Leprechaun would be on late at night, and they would be like giving me shit because I'd be like, I don't want to watch this. And yeah, speaking of that, did you know there's a Leprechaun where Leprechaun goes to space?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that.
I recently on TV was Leprechaun like 6 Leprechaun in the Hood or something like that. And that led me to IMDb where I saw that there was like 9 of them. And in the last one, Leprechaun goes to space. I didn't watch it, but it's there.
Did you watch the Goes to the Hood one?
No, I did. So I saw part of it.
That sounds incredibly entertaining and cheesy.
It was incredibly B movie. Like
A little Irish guy in the hood. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leprechaun was scary. It was like Leprechaun and Chucky when I was a kid. It scared the crap.
Chucky got me quite
Yeah.
a bit.
I'm going to have a hard time getting in my vehicle now because in Leprechaun, one of the scenes I remember is he's hid out underneath the car and then like cut
Yep.
their. Now I'm like jump into my truck after this.
I'm
Thanks,
going to
Andy,
make Kyle carry me to my truck. Thanks,
Good idea.
buddy.
in advance.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
No. I remember my dad was really like this horror movie from the 60s or 70s. You might have to IMDb this while I'm speaking of it. It's called The Babysitter.
The Babysitter.
Yeah.
I think I
Babysitter's
remember this
Club?
one.
No, different one.
never
I
heard
mean,
of
you'll remember you might remember the famous line of like someone keeps calling the house. It gets made fun of in Scream. Someone keeps calling the house like, I see you. And then she calls the police, and then they get the call is coming from inside the house. They trace the call. The call is coming from inside. I was scarred.
Did it have William Shatner in it?
I believe so.
Okay, then yeah, 1980.
1980. Okay, I was off. It was close to 70s.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's real close to the 70s.
It's touching it. Yeah, that he was like, "Oh, you like scary movies? You got to watch this." I'm like, I'm watching Goosebumps on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
That not the same thing. Oh, the call's coming from inside the house. Cool. Every time the phone rang for like a week, I'm like,
They're in the house.
yeah.
Every time I try to picture Scream now, like what I really picture is Scary Movie.
Scary Movie.
Like I can't even really remember what Scream was like. I just remember Carmen Electra running through and tearing off her clothes.
Yeah,
like
they
that's-
tracked right through it. It
Yeah.
was really well done.
The Wayans brothers have a great success with doing that. So
We knew how cheesy it was then,
But it
and
was
you watch
awesome.
it. You watch it now,
Still
and you're
good.
like, the cheesiness just aged so well.
Yeah. That whole franchise of movies was like. This is
fourth-
turning into a movie podcast, apparently.
Dude, the 4th one had Charlie Sheen and was making fun of that movie Signs. It was
Yeah.
the 4th or the 5th one, and it was pretty funny. I'm telling you, the Wayans brothers know what's going on.
They do.
I didn't anticipate that either.
So okay, no more movies.
Well, that's all good.
What do you got in that fancy book of yours?
Okay, so we broached it already. The period time.
Oh God, yeah, that's the scariest thing to me right now. Like my wife works a lot, and I work from home, and I get my daughter like 90% of the time. It's me and her at home.
9 or 90?
90. Like
At least 9.
Like sometimes it's me, my wife, and her, but it's rarely just my wife and her. Like I'm at home a lot,
Right.
And I am scared to death that it's going to happen. Like when it's just me and her, and my wife is at work 30 minutes away, and I've already like talked it out with some people. Like I have a couple different women that are within like a 10 to 15 mile radius that if it happens, I'm going to call them and I'm just not going to address it. Like I'm just going to be like, put some toilet paper on whatever and stay in the toilet and there's help coming. Like help is on the way.
Help is on the
and
way.
then I'm going to make somebody come over and have this talk and do this for me because I have no clue. I know what's supposed to happen physically. I know what goes where. I don't want to be the one to do it or talk to my kid about it.
I can concur. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So and there's apparently like an emergency like pack that you can have for your kid that like in case it happens they rip the tab and like
A
everything
glow
needs in
stick and
there.
stuff. You snap it and like shake it up and
I've asked my wife several times to like get it and like go through it with her. Buy 2 of them, open one of them, and like talk to her about the pieces and where they go so that I don't have to do this. And as far as I know, that hasn't happened yet.
I mean, they're not going to expire, right? If you open
I
them.
don't think so. But also,
I think you just close it after that.
I hear that it's happening earlier and earlier. My kid's 9. I'm like, at what point? How many years do I got here? Do I have months or years?
Scientifically, it's also proven that it's not happening earlier. It just continually feels like it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
happening earlier.
like there's a girl who lives with us and might as well call her my 4th daughter. She's 20, but she got hers at 8.
yeah.
8 years old.
Jesus.
I
Like,
mean, nutrition and things like they play a huge part of it. It
Yeah.
just depends on your diet and what's going on in your life. Stress.
Our kids eat well.
Yeah, they eat way better than I did.
Way
when I was-
better than
way
I did.
better than I did. Now my family fed me plenty. I don't want, but like his kids eat well.
That was hamburger helper. But fortunately for you, Andy, Kyle and I both have daughters that have gone into.
I was first.
But
Yes, you were first.
you can now lean on that oldest daughter to help the younger ones through this if needed. Like if your wife's not home, but Abby's there, you can be like, Abby, come in here and talk to Carter and everything's okay.
So, like with my wife's business and like her profession, we've had like there's a very open communication between like my daughters and us, and like they know everything. Like they'll correct people in public. Like if they're like, "Oh, you have a baby in your tummy," and they're like, "Actually, it's in the uterus." Like and they're doing that at 5 years old, and but like the nature of our relationship over the past 5 years, his kids are my kids, and so like they're around it as well.
Yeah,
So
Abby wasn't even concerned.
yeah.
It
Your
happened.
kids- Your kids correct me when I curse all the time.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
good of them.
Language.
But if I say anything, one of your kids is like, language. And I'm like, okay.
It's
got
not.
it.
It's not one of his kids. It's Ainsley.
Yeah,
It's Ainsley.
It is Ainsley.
Now it started off. I mean, I think it started off pretty legitimately. She was like, "Hey, hey," and now it's so tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
It's really funny, and except the like 3rd time she does it in a day, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should watch my language, but also stop it, knock it off.
I don't mind it being said because that's of all the things I do parent wise, that's the one thing I wish I was better at is I try so hard not to curse in front of my daughter.
I don't
And
give a shit.
no, like, so my daughter now she's aware. She's like, yeah, Dad, don't worry. I'm not going to repeat it. But I'm like, no, but I shouldn't be doing it. But the bottom line is if I'm driving, man, like
That's
I
it?
can
That's the thing?
Dude, if I'm driving, I call people everything. And I don't like other drivers. I wish everybody would get off the road when I'm driving.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, that's all I
They
have.
should.
Yeah, no, man, the language thing. I'm good. I don't.
You're
I don't,
good as in you don't mind that you curse a lot?
I don't think that I curse a ton, but I do.
You do curse, yeah.
Yes, I do. And in my line of business, it is honestly very common for it to be used.
Yeah.
From a young age, I explained to my daughters we should not give power to words that just don't mean anything unless you think they do. And when don't use them and especially don't use them in certain places, and understand your surroundings and understand the people you're talking to, and it's just a word.
That's really good advice, though, especially for young daughters, right? Like young girls, like don't give power to words that, like,
Yeah.
whatever, however you just said that. My brain doesn't work. But like
Whatever he said, that's what I mean.
what he said, all the things like that girls are gonna go through just within friend groups and just like boys and like it's
really fucking hard.
yeah.
Language.
Don't worry about it.
I think that is my biggest challenge of raising the daughters. Carter's 8, and she is so friendly and so nice. She doesn't deal with any of this stuff yet.
Yeah.
But Abby deals with and we go to a nicer school, and her friends are pretty cool. Their parents are kind of lame. But
Yes.
oh God, so lame. But all in all, the kids are pretty cool. They're laid back. They're not. But even then, it is just freaking daggers shot at them every day, at least once a week, twice a week. Daggers shot at them. And I'm like, man, I don't have to deal with that shit.
You know, we didn't really bring this up. Like, so your kids go to private school.
Yeah.
Yours goes to public school.
Public school all the way.
And mine are the weirdo homeschool kids.
Got a good variety here.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying. Your kids are taking incoming through bullying, harassment, whatever it might be at school.
I don't like to label things bullying just passing words. I don't like to call it bullying because I feel like that is a term that is somewhat overused at times.
Are they
It's
getting
tossed around.
Are they getting a tough time at school?
Not traditionally.
Okay.
No.
Bro, have you seen Abby? I don't think anybody can give
I
Abby a
wouldn't
tough
screw- I'm not
time.
going to screw with Abby.
Yeah,
She's 5'8", 148 pounds of like, I'm going to kick your ass.
She could.
She still gets it though. She does get it, but it's not bullying because that's an extreme term, and it's when we were growing up, a bully was not what it is now. A bully is
They beat you up.
it's just it's turned into like this. It was always a negative label. I don't want to say it was ever a positive label, but
Suddenly being a bully is not a good thing anymore.
It's not an endearing term.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's like there is such a stigma around the term bully now, or like if someone reports bullying to the principal now, that is a different way than it was 30 years ago.
It's so loosely like held. Like anything can be considered bullying, which it's not. Like
It's not.
toughen up a little bit.
It's just a little bit. I'm not saying any kid should have to go to school and deal with shit.
Right. But it's going to happen. And I think what you're saying, like what you told your kids, like don't put weight in words that like, especially if it comes from someone you don't care about. Like that's what I try to tell my kids. Like, hey, if someone's saying something you don't really care about them, like why are you letting it bother your day? Like they mean nothing to you. You should care about the people you care about.
The hardest part is because at that age, it is people they care about. And our daughters do it to each other occasionally.
They do.
Yeah. And like we're talking about our oldest, our youngest. I think they could be together for 3 straight weeks and never.
I don't think they would. They might like have a tiff, but that's probably because the 4-year-old is like prodding them because she's evil.
She is.
She's intelligent.
I can't wait to get into the Letty section of this because it's great. The bloodbath book. Well, that's another story for another time.
I'll say real quick on the not bullying. What are we going to give me a word to call it? Incoming from fellow classmates?
No. I don't know what to tell you it is without
Okay, whatever it is we're talking about, like that's one of the things that I actually like about my kid going to public school. Like I'm one of the guys that says like that builds character. Like you need to learn how to deal with it. Sorry, you need to learn how to deal with assholes. They're gonna be around your whole life.
They are gonna be
and
everywhere.
there are kids that get really sheltered all the way through high school, and then they get to college, and all of a sudden they're dealing with people being assholes, and they don't handle it well.
So I will say this: my daughters went to public school. Okay. They're the same age Lennon is now. What grade is she in?
She's in 4th.
4th. So that's when Abby finished 4th grade in public school and then went to private. And it was mostly not for her. It was mostly for Carter.
Yeah.
There was 27 kids in her class. These were all COVID babies.
And Carter is so freaking smart, man.
Dude. And like she was testing miserably. She wasn't learning a thing. She went in and came out that same school year, and it was like the exact same thing. And it had nothing to do with the teacher at all. She was trying so hard to just keep these 27 kids to shut the hell up and sit down.
To me, that's the best reason. Like everybody I talk to that has a kid in public school, and I'll be like, okay, why'd you want to take him out of public and into private? And then when they tell me about the class size, that's where I'm always like, like that's...
Yeah, her
that
class
makes
size.
So much
her
sense.
class size is maxed at 14.
Yep.
And these kids have a little bit of home training. The kids she was with originally, just like they went from being at home all the time because they did go through the COVID time directly in major growth years, and they did not know how to act in a class setting. They did not know how to act among other people. And the teacher did everything she could just to try and get the class in order. And Carter helped. That's all she did. She just helped the teacher. Like, can we get these kids to sit down so I can learn something? And she got nothing. Within the first year of that good class size, great teacher at their private school, test scores went through the roof, and the adaption and the the knowledge that just clicked. It was like, oh, all right, well, now we have to keep doing this. I don't want to necessarily all the time.
See, and that's where I feel like they could do that with public schools. I'm sure that we'd probably pay more in taxes, but like instead, like public school funding seems to be going down year after year.
Every year.
And classroom sizes are getting bigger and bigger. And it's like, I feel like if we put that to like a public referendum where like we could all vote on that, a lot of people would vote like, hey, let's give some more money to the schools.
I thought the lottery was supposed to be funneling money at it.
Yeah.
Where does that money
Yeah.
go?
I have a feeling
didn't.
that money's not all going to the schools.
No,
I could be wrong.
it's been traced. It's
Not-
not going.
yeah.
It's not going to the schools.
No.
They put that word education everywhere on those commercials. Though.
That's-
everywhere.
And it's one of the fun things about Oklahoma. Like I laugh about this all the time, but when I go back down to Texas to visit, as soon as I cross the border, gas is like 20 cents more expensive in Texas.
Yeah.
Like just every time. And it's like, oh, that 20 cents is the state gas tax. In Oklahoma, we have a real small state. It feels good to fill up for less money, but
I'd rather.
our roads are crap.
Garbage.
I would
Hot
rather. I
garbage.
would rather live with a smarter society, though.
Well, but the gas tax, all like 100% of that goes to roads, to public roads.
They
So-
do
that
have
makes
nicer
sense.
roads, 100%. Yeah,
Dude,
very
when
nice
as
roads.
soon as I cross the
Except for
border into
DFW.
Texas, it's like just
It's
sorry, into Oklahoma. But yeah, it's like I don't know, I like the low gas price, but if we had a 10 cents more per gallon but really nice roads everywhere, what would you rather have? And that's
I'd rather have 10 cents more a gallon and
Nice roads.
Actual funding for schools.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would love to trust that I could send my kid to school, have a class size of 15 and learn.
Yeah.
It was not working. It wasn't working.
I
Abby
said-
was maxing out. Carter was maxing out. And it was like, all right, what's our next option?
Well, not only is it not working, but it's getting worse. So
Yeah.
that's
Right.
the scary part.
Right.
And that's what I can't afford to do public or private schools. Like I've heard what people pay for it, and nope, not doing it.
There's a tax credit now, though.
And
It's $7,500 per kid, right?
Yeah.
that's a sore subject with me because that money comes out of the public school budget.
does. It does.
It does,
Yeah.
but I mean,
So
I know
We're
how it was
defunding
framed.
public
It was
schools.
one of those things that was framed like we need to give everyone an opportunity, which you just said you don't want to afford it. So, I mean, that's your opportunity,
Yeah.
right? But it's supposed to be giving opportunities to people in less fortunate areas to afford it. Now, what it ends up doing a lot of the times are the kids that are already there, right?
it's like 90% of the vouchers go to kids that were already going to public schools. So
and the parents who can afford it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they
No, I agree.
definitely sold it well. So
Yeah, well, and it does decrease, but the more they make, I don't make much, but like,
Yeah.
so I qualify for the most. But
Good. I mean, like, it helps. Like, your kids need it, though. They deserve it.
yeah.
Not that they needed the challenge.
Okay, Justin. Yeah. All right. My kids need a little more schooling. I get it, bud. I get
yeah.
where you're coming from.
every kid should get the opportunity to have a good education, whether it's in public or private schools. The problem is, I
100%.
think Oklahoma is 48th in the nation.
Yep.
48th or 49th.
Yeah,
48th.
It's
We were 48th.
It's way up there, baby.
I think it's Mississippi and New Mexico are worse than us. But
Suck
That's
it,
wonderful.
Mississippi.
I went to school
Anyhow,
in New
yeah,
Mexico.
that's-
Yay.
We
What's
can't
that?
spell.
I went to school in New Mexico.
We can't
I
spell.
went to school in
Mississippi.
Texas, which surprisingly I think is like 30th or so. So not bad. But
Not bad being in the
bad.
bottom half.
speaking to all you Oklahoma people, so yeah.
Looking at you up there like, oh, I wish I could just beat we are looking. I wish I could
Yeah.
beat Texas.
We have to get off of schools though, because I'll start talking about Ryan Walters in a minute.
No,
and
no, we're not doing any of
I
that.
know.
So back to periods.
What's that?
Back to
Back
periods.
to periods. Yeah.
So Kyle, Abby had her period before Ainsley. They're the same age.
What, a couple months?
Couple months.
But Abby's also a couple months older, so it was kind of
Yeah.
right on schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I call a timeout real quick? I remember I heard a very disturbing rumor that I didn't even ask you guys about. But
Shit.
are y'all doing like trips to honor the period or something, like an outing at a hotel or what?
When you
is
say y'all,
Is this
what
a,
do you
is this a
mean?
thing? I remember hearing one weekend that like the Skinners or the Rays, I don't remember who it was, can't go because they're doing like a hotel overnight outing because somebody got their period. And I purposely erased most of that from my memory because as soon as I heard it, I was like, I don't want to know that. And then I deleted what I had just heard. But I have bits of it.
Are you okay? Briefly before one of us describes it, are you just disturbed by periods?
Yeah, I don't want to do anything about periods.
Why?
I think I've never had one. I'm scared of them.
I've never had one either.
Yeah.
No, but they don't disturb me. Like they're just a part of
Yeah.
the part of
I
life.
feel like we should tell period stories.
I have no period stories.
I have a
For
periods.
you to maybe make it less of a apprehension towards A, the conversation with Lennon, and B, when it happens, because it's going to happen.
That's scary.
So yes, I have a great story to tell. However, we are going to sum up the trip real quick.
Because it's on topic. Yeah, it's on topic.
Do you want to take that while I
Sure.
my brain?
Yeah. So, what had happened was my wife and Kyle's wife are really good friends. Like I'm gonna say besties for the resties, and the same thing with our older daughters most of the time. Anyway, they both got their periods within a couple months of each other, as we just told you. And so my wife got with Morgan, Kyle's wife, and was like, hey, we should celebrate this milestone in their lives. They're becoming like women, blah, 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 like all these things. And so they're like, hey, we're going to take them to a hotel just here in town in Tulsa for the weekend and just celebrate them in this next thing rather than making it because they both had, I don't know about Morgan, but my wife had a horrible experience. Her mom didn't prep her for a period at all. She was just like, I'm dying. Why am I dying? Right. And so she made it a point to make sure our children were never going to be surprised by like, I'm going to take a piss one day and I'm just bleeding.
Can I have one of y'all's wives talk to my kid about this?
I assure you both of them would be.
They would love to. Yeah.
100% fine with it.
So in the celebration of this, it was they took a weekend away, a Friday, Saturday, and came back on Sunday to just celebrate them. So they went to the hotel and they hung out at the pool. They went and got like mani-pedis and then went to Mr. Kim's downtown, good restaurant. If you're ever in town, go to Mr. Kim's. It's kind of expensive, but it's a fun eating experience. And
Not an official sponsor.
No, yeah, not sponsored.
Not yet.
Yeah. There's an affiliate link below. I'm just kidding. No. So yeah, that's what they did. They just went downtown and just celebrated themselves. Had a time of just like the four women together.
Is that kind of like what I'm going to say this wrong, a quinceañera? Is that kind of what that is?
I have no
celebration of becoming a woman?
You didn't say it wrong, but I think the two things are handled separately.
Yeah, I think the quinceañera, like in Mexican culture, 15 is the age of just becoming a woman.
Womanhood.
Okay. For some reason, I honestly thought that was like they get their period and like, hurry, we now have to throw her a quinceañera. I don't know why I assumed that was.
Quince is 15 in Spanish.
Yeah, I knew that, but I never put it together.
Yeah, and so
this is the first time you're understanding this?
Yes,
nice.
Right. Never thought about it.
So yeah, that was the weekend that why they couldn't go because it was a big deal, and like I'm in support of that. Like celebrate your children, celebrate milestones, and all that kind of stuff. So.
And Abby going to school, unlike Ainsley does go to school. I don't want to say that she goes to a separate type of school. Yeah. So Abby's very familiar with her classmates, been going there for years, and still a lot of the kids have this negative connotation around it, and she just didn't.
Around the period?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she just didn't. She was like, it was another day.
Was she one of the first of her like class friends or not?
Oh, she's almost 13, so I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't taken a poll.
Andy, I can't tell you I know about my friend's daughters or my daughter's friends' periods.
Yes, you do.
I know about her friend's period, but not all of her friends' periods. It's not something that I'm like, hey, by the way.
I don't have a chart on the wall.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
right
glad
there.
you don't know. If you could sit here and recite stories about all of your
That
daughters'
would be
friends'
concerning.
That would be, I'd call the police.
That would be concerning.
Right.
That would.
So I don't know any.
No,
Yeah.
don't. We're no
I
police.
know one.
No police. Yeah, it's mine.
His.
And that's fine. They're together all the time. Not him.
This is
story,
sounding
please.
worse.
Families are together all the time. All right. So
for legal reasons, I should mention that I don't know anything about this. Yep.
I needed some water. So Kyle, tell Andy about some conversations you had with Abby afterwards.
okay, so
After the period?
yeah.
Okay.
And once again, this was not a surprise. This was not an upsetting period for her. Oh, damn it. This was not an upsetting time and space for her.
Dad jokes.
That wasn't intended. I caught it afterwards. And Morgan was the first to deal with it, and that was just time-wise. She picked her up from school. It happened at school. Cool. Like,
It happened
Wait, did she
at
leave school early?
No.
Or just picked her up from school?
yeah, just picked her up from school like normal.
It happened while at school.
Did it happen in school? I don't remember. Morgan was the first one around her. That's
Okay.
Fair enough.
Notice how you don't know any details, just like I'm trying to not know any details. But go ahead.
Well, it's not within the period itself. It's
When I know details, I'm not saying I'm like, was it a heavy flow?
No,
like
yeah.
no, those are the details I'm looking for here.
this was just months ago, and I just don't remember exactly why Morgan was the first one there. I know I was at work.
Okay.
so they have the day. I think they went out and did a couple things together, just hanging out, and then it was really cool. I was really happy for that. Abby wasn't upset. However, the next morning was the weekend. Maybe it was a couple days later. I don't remember. And I'm waking up, kind of getting around, and I hear Abby like scrambling throughout the house, which is unusual. She's a bit of a person that sleeps in, and I'm, all right, let me get up and see what's going on. She's like, hey, Dad, my phone, it's not turning on. I can't figure this out. And I'm like, really? Like, you're freaking out. You're kind of walking through the house, slamming cabinets and stuff. I was like, trying to figure this out. Cool. I'm going to go get ready. I'll be back in a minute. And go shower or whatever, come back out. And I'm like, okay, do you need to try a different charger? Maybe my charger's in the room. We can see if that fixes it all. And she turns around with these big welling eyes. She's like, no, Dad, I figured it out. I'm a woman now. And like she's fake crying while she says it. And I actually lost my knee power because I thought it was the funniest damn thing.
She told a dad joke?
Yeah, she said, I'm a woman now. And it was like, it was that she understood the gravitas of the situation, but also was there to have the levity to like, this is funny. This is like, this is okay.
Yeah.
And it was like, it gave me a little freedom to understand that she was good.
Gotcha.
She was okay.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, well, I think the training that Red and Morgan gave her, like, okay, shit, they expected this. They knew what was coming.
Do you kind of pump them up to where, like, when this happens, you're becoming a woman, and that way it's kind of an exciting thing happening as opposed to a scary thing?
Yeah.
I would think that'd be a good way to go about it.
I'm going to plead the fifth on this. I want to almost say it was like almost explain like it was a biological thing.
Yeah.
And not so much like you're a grown up now, because I don't want to explain it that way necessarily. I think it's like, hey, this is a natural progression. This is the next step.
Yeah, that's definitely how it's approached with my family, with my wife and stuff. It was like, hey, you're a female. Like, this is what happens with females over at a certain period, pun intended, of time. You're going to have this process happen in your body. And they went through the whole thing, like sloughing off the inner lining wall of your uterus, and it's going to be coming out through here. So if you bleed one day, like, that's what it is. You're not dying. Because, like, literally my wife went to go use the bathroom, and she, like, yelled for her mom, like, I'm dying. And her mom came in and was like, no, you got your period. Here you go. This is what you do. Bye. And left. And there was like a horrifying experience for my wife, as you might imagine. Yeah. Imagine you go to take a piss and it's just like straight blood.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, like I'm freaking out. Like it's going to be all over the walls too because I'm freaking out. Anyway, so.
That's a sight.
Right. It looks like a murder scene. So, yeah, that was what she wanted to prepare our children for. And I think it's important that someone, doesn't have to be you, because I didn't have that conversation with Ainsley.
Yeah.
I was present for the said conversation.
Right.
I was there. Like, yeah, this is totally a normal thing.
And I think that's really important, actually. The fact that we normalize it and we don't demonize it.
That's a great point. Like I agree with you guys on that, and I'm gonna be there to do that, but I'm gonna complain about it.
You don't have to say. You don't have to say a damn word.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be.
I don't think I said anything.
Yeah.
Because I have no experience in it.
No, whatever you just said about the inner walls or something.
Yeah,
I don't remember it.
Sloughing off.
I never heard that before, and I wish I hadn't heard it still. So I'm just gonna delete that from my brain.
Let's remove the word sloughing from this podcast going forward for any reason.
If I ever had to like shovel snow out of the driveway, I'm gonna say I'm sloughing the snow.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get like one of those little warnings at the bottom of our podcast. Yeah. Like,
do we need to put one of like this is educational purposes only?
It's gonna say know the facts, and then it's gonna have like things about women's reproductive
Yeah, we're
cycles.
definitely gonna have to look up some facts after this.
Oh,
and just right on the bottom of it, be like, yeah, we don't know shit.
I don't know if you've watched podcasts before, but apparently facts mean very little.
That's true.
Don't.
Yeah,
That's
true. We could just say whatever.
We just have to be
Exactly.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The tits.
So that's entertaining.
Yeah. That's how you get the people.
So for Ainsley, like selfishly, I still lay down with my 4-year-old because she's like, Dad, lay down with me, read me a book, and like, well, that's all I do for 5 minutes.
Quick timeout. on Sunday at my house watching football, and I think you were like right beside me.
Yeah.
Your 4-year-old came up and like cuddled up on my belly, and it was the cutest damn thing in the world. And I was like looking around, and I was like, "Is anybody seeing this?" And I think I got your and your wife's attention, and I was like, your wife was like, "Is that a problem?" And I was like, "No, I'm excited." Like
Exactly.
she's cuddling me. So anyhow, that was neat.
Especially given her and her personality, it is a compliment.
Yeah, well, she's always been cool with me, but she's never like been one to come up and like cuddle me, and it was odd but cool. It was like, oh, neat moment. Sorry,
It takes her a while to warm up to you. So anyway, selfishly, I lay down with her for like she's my smallest one, and it's like my 8-year-old or 9-year-old. She still likes to cuddle too, but I don't know. Anyway, so I'm laying down there, read a book, doing our 5-minute countdown, and Ainsley, my 12-year-old, walks into the bathroom, walks right out. Walks in the bathroom, closes the door, walks right out. Walks in the bathroom, closes the door, walks right out. This is like over the matter of like 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. She walks back in a 4th time, comes out. I'm like, what are you doing? You just keep slamming the door. Are you going to the bathroom? What's going on? So she looks at me and goes, I think I just started my period. To which I was like, okay. We've been trained in this situation. You know where your bag is. You know where all your stuff is. You know what to do. Your mom is here. Go see her
I was
in the
going to say
room.
immediately,
Like,
Kirsty!
But so here's the thing, like being present for that conversation with my wife and like, hey, Ainsley, this is what's going to happen. This is natural, all that kind of stuff. Here's what you do. Cause we're not like, she doesn't use tampons. She uses pads. Like my wife is firmly against of stuffing, a bleached foreign object inside of you because like there's chemicals and all that jazz. And anyway,
from the little I know about nosebleeds, it seems to be the most effective.
Sure. Pads also work at this age. I mean, like you do you, and like you and Stephanie like talk about whatever you want to do. But I agree with my wife Ailey because I'm not an expert on this. But she was like, "Hey, imagine you stuffing something that's covered in bleach, went through some sort of processing over there inside of you. Like,
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, it would be the 3rd, but 4th. Last weekend happened. So,
Way to go.
Still counts.
Anyway, so, like she had essentially what you were talking about, this emergency kit, but she just has this extra bag she had with all the supplies in it. So that's when I said like, hey, you know what to do. You got your bag. Where is your bag? Let's just take care of this. And then that's when it dawned on me like, oh, my wife's here. Like, pawn this on her. Like, go see your mom. She doesn't want to celebrate with you. It was a favor for my wife. She wanted to celebrate the moment.
You were letting her have that opportunity.
Exactly. I wasn't taking
Red
the
would have
moment.
been mad.
She would have.
Like, not upset you or anything, but she would have been upset that she wasn't involved. Like, if she would have happened to have been in another city, she would have been remiss that she was not upset.
But it wouldn't be mad at me for clarification. It would just be like upset that they weren't there for this milestone. Anyway, so there's no real reason to like be. I mean, I guess you have your own thing. It's not a
Sluffing.
It's not a tough. It can be awkward. But if you approach it like Kyle said, from a biology standpoint, like,
well, that's what the soccer mom that said she had this talk with her daughter is a nurse or doctor. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And she said that she just approached it from a strictly like biology, like this is how the body works, this is what's happening, and like gave her the birds and the bees talk, but like very medically, I guess. And to me, I'm like, if you can be more factual and use a big term like that, I could do that better. Than
Factual helps actually. Dumbing it down and really baby talking this whole thing, I don't think works. Now, I still think 9 is too young to have the birds and the bees talk. Personally, hey. If you out there want to have that talk at 9 years old, you do it.
I think it also depends on how close they're coming to hear it. Like if they have older brothers or sisters, or there's certain scenarios where you might see it coming and be like, let me get ahead of this, so they're hearing it from me first before they're getting bad info. That's my thought.
So. Yeah, because my wife's one of like 100 kids, 9
at least,
and most of them are female. So like this also isn't necessarily my first go around of a girl getting their period. Right? I wasn't like alerted. There wasn't like a mass group text like, so-and-so just got their period. But it was like, oh, they started their period. And so for me, it's just been super normal because I've just been surrounded by females for the past 12 years.
I want to cover this real quick, just how we all know each other. So Andy mentioned soccer, and I kind of want to just cover a couple things real quick. Me and Justin met each other through our oldest daughters playing soccer together. It wasn't welcomed or wanted, but
right.
We figured out that we kind of liked each other, and liked each other, and yeah, and
Like to spend time in the pool with each other.
Butt stuff.
and that's where the bleach things come in. And our daughters liked each other, and it was like, okay, well, let's see where this kind of goes. And so one day he invited us over to his house, and Red, who you'll hear me call her Red, her name is
My wife, yeah, Kirsty.
Was like, oh, no, we're not having these people over here. And this lasted for at least 2 to 3 months of a wall breaking down, and then slowly, and it became a really cool friendship. And our daughters, both of our oldest, well, my only two and his two oldest, are inseparable.
Yeah.
And then one day I was at Thanksgiving at my in-laws' house, my wife's parents. That's what in-laws means.
Yep. Checks out.
And Andy, this dude, just walks in the door.
So fun fact: we're only 4 years apart age-wise. I think you're 38.
36.
You're 38. We're 6
I'll be
years
38.
apart. Yeah, we're 6 years apart. But I used to get severely inebriated with your uncle like 10 years ago.
Yep. My wife's uncle, just to clarify.
Uncle through marriage, uncle-in-law, whatever that would be.
Uncle-in-law works.
Yeah,
I don't think that's
and me and him used to we were worked for the same company and would go out after every outing. We would end up at a bar together. And then when I moved to Tulsa, I didn't know anybody, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to be in Tulsa for my mom's birthday. Come on over.
Maybe it was birthday. Yeah.
Come on over and meet the family." And then I happened to meet you and your wife, and Lennon and your daughter are roughly the same age. And you mentioned, "Hey, do y'all want to be on a soccer team?" And at that point, we just wanted to meet people. Like we were like, "We'll do whatever to get our kid playing with us."
What's funny is she's still on the soccer team and my kid's not.
Yeah, no,
This dude will meet anybody though.
Oh my God. How did you not meet a million people by the time you met me? Was that like the first week?
I'd only been up here like 2 months, and we live out in the sticks, so like not a lot of people
Egypt.
around. But
Fucking
then
Egypt.
after meeting you and getting on the soccer team, you tipped me off that Justin here does not like new people in his life. And I love that. If you ever point somebody out to me and say that person doesn't want to meet new people, like I'm about to go plant myself down beside that person and make them be my friend. And how many months did I work on you? I can't even remember. It was a while.
It was probably 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, 2 or 3 months of me just annoying Justin into talking to me. And hey, look, now I'm on a podcast with you.
Now we're all good friends.
And I do remember distinctly Justin's description of me before he knew me, because we were practicing on just a plain field, literally no shade in sight.
It was just grass.
Just grass. Except there was a telephone pole reaching over the field.
Like this.
There's one telephone pole. And every parent, mostly the soccer moms, and to be honest, the soccer team is a mostly private school. You get the picture that I'm painting. Mostly, most of them are wonderful people. But you get the picture I'm painting of the soccer mom situation. And I'm on the other side of the field, moving my chair to stay in the shade of this one light pole or one
It was a telephone
pole throughout the thing. And he goes, huh, that's pretty smart.
It is really freaking smart. Because I'm sitting on the other side with all of the soccer moms, like distance.
We're the only dads there.
Yeah, it was all
dads.
moms and then Kyle and myself. And Kyle's sitting across the field, and I'm sitting there like, this dude's a freaking genius. He's just moved his chair in the shade.
Every 5 minutes, I just move my chair.
And I'm over here like just sun in my face because it was facing west. And like I got to listen to all these moms complain about whatever it was that happened at school that day. And I'm like, whatever. And
which, by the way, you've been leaving me hanging at soccer for quite a while now. It's me at soccer practice and like 7 moms.
see, so you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, and for a while, we had a great group of dads at every practice walking. It was like me, you, Ryan, Bob. Bob's helping coach now. Ryan's always working. You're never there. So it's back to me and the mom. So I appreciate that. So
Well, to be fair, Amelia did have like some moles removed on Monday. So
and she broke her sternum before that. It's always excuses.
It's always excuses with you. Yeah. It's
you
always,
guys just don't want to come to practice.
broke my sternum, I guess.
we do.
I think coach is onto y'all. I'm just saying.
And we've left the club. Carter quit playing soccer, and her chasing of gymnastics, and basketball, which I love, and I coach. Not the gymnastics; that would be really bad for everybody. And Abby moved on to a little bit more competitive scene.
She needed to.
Yeah. I did, and Kyle, I wish you were there for this. I got all the dads to play disc golf when we had church at or practice at what's it called, Park Church.
Park. Yeah.
Yeah, I brought all my discs, and I got a couple of the dads playing, and I think everybody enjoyed it, but Bob didn't seem to enjoy it.
You don't think so?
Yeah, it didn't seem to be his thing. Ryan was zipping it out there. This guy used to play Ultimate, and I didn't know that. And the first time he launched one, I was like, oh, well, you've done this before, but it's a good time. So,
Sleeper move.
hey, while I'm on a random story,
Okay.
I think you had left before this the other night, but the other night, as they were leaving, somebody opened the front door and a bird. Do you remember
Yes.
this? I was drunk and a bird just flies right into my house. And Kirsty and Stephanie are standing there talking, and they were talking about something serious. I don't know what, but the bird buzzed their head like 4 times, and they were just everybody in the house is screaming, and they were just locked in having a conversation.
No way.
Yeah, and. I think it finally went out the back door. Justin was everybody was just pointing and screaming. Justin tried to like jump up and catch it. He didn't come close.
were you
I
gonna
didn't have chopsticks,
What
so
were you gonna
like
do?
He never came close, but like the bird would fly over, and 4 seconds later, Justin's arm would go across.
What kind of bird are we talking about here? Like, we talking like, say when.
What do they call the swallow? I think.
Keep going. Keep it much smaller. Much
Yeah.
much
It
smaller.
was like
I
a
was going the
swallow.
other way.
I know.
I was going the wrong. We're going the wrong way.
It was like a little, just
I
like
have a
a
video.
tree
of it.
bird.
Maybe we'll
'cause-
slice it into the podcast.
Yeah.
It was-
We'll put it in there.
I'm thinking like
Editor
a
put it
crow.
in there.
I'm thinking like
No,
a
it's a
full-on
swallow.
crow.
Yeah.
It's like one of the annoying ones that wakes you up at 5 a.m. because it thinks the sun's coming up. It's not a chicken, I guess.
It's a
That's a
swallow.
rooster. Is it an African swallow?
No, it's not a cave swallow. It's there's a name for it, ground swallow or something like that. It's one of the ground dwelling birds.
This big.
Yeah, it was tiny.
Anyway, so that I wasn't trying to catch it. I was trying to scare it out the door because you had
He
both
was-
doors open.
He was grasping at it, and
I did kind of want to catch it.
he was the only sober person, I think. So I'm glad
That's
you were going
correct.
after it.
That's correct. I don't drink.
I was my house, and I was
Normally.
just videoing and laughing, and everybody else was screaming, and it was kind of funny. I had a blast with it.
It was probably a solid.
It was a good
10
ending.
minutes.
It was an ending to the night. Like, did
everybody leave after
As
that?
we got the bird out, everybody left. Which I had a great time, but I was ready for everybody to go. I was
Yeah, that's a
whooped at
long
that point.
time.
Yeah,
That's a long time. I was the least interesting person at that party.
no, and I had that guy from my neighborhood showed up, and I realized right away I was like, he's not going to know anybody here, and I knew you two knew each other, so I was like, all right, I'm going to him because you two can talk, and I don't want him to be.
Nah, and I went
So,
to the other. Oh, you talking about the bald headed dude?
Yeah,
Old guy,
Yeah, older guy.
the older guy, yeah.
the gray hair guy.
He's going to watch this and
So-
be upset.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry I called you old, but your
I
hair
didn't
is
mean bald.
freaking gray.
Yeah.
I didn't mean bald. I meant
The really tall
something
guy
else.
is Jackson.
Yeah, and I hung out
Not
with him.
Yeah, the other
He's
guy.
cool.
Yeah.
The
I
old,
know
the
with
bald
him.
guy, the old guy is cool. What's his name? Matt. No, Matt down the street. Matt down the street. You're super cool. If you watch this, I don't know why you're freaking watching this, but
He's got 2 girls and a boy, so he can't be part of
he
the
can't be
club.
part
Yeah.
of the club. No.
No, but he can watch it.
You can certainly
Yeah, you can
watch it.
I mean, hey,
I don't know
we're
how
not-
old are his
We're not
girls?
dissuading you. And
He's got a 9-year-old and
was
a 15 or 16-year-old.
How freaking old is he?
I don't know. He told me, but I was drunk.
Maybe he's just one of those people that just gets gray hair early.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I don't even mind that. I'm getting gray. Pretty
I
quick.
mean, like I got the gray in the beard.
So also, as a disclaimer for everybody out there, dads with boys should also watch this because they should also understand what the hell's going on.
Understand our struggle.
Yeah, but also understand what it's like. Like,
I think
guess
to this,
what? Your boy's going to want a girlfriend at some point. You got to know this shit too.
Yeah.
And you may not want to, but it's better to know it than not to know it.
And you can swoon him.
I would argue that to this point, to 9 years old, I believe it's been much easier having a daughter than and I wanted a
Yes.
son. I was
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but I look at my friends that have boys, and I'm like, oh god, it looks rough. It looks incredibly hard. Now I think that in about 2 or 3 years, I'm gonna be screwed. But for now,
We have a solution to this, and this is the beautiful part about our family's relationship.
okay.
We just bring Abby over and make her stop.
Okay.
Like, just come over, like, or just invite it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you come over, and like, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah, and she's just acting that way. We bring Abby over and
but
make her stop.
I'm talking about dating though too. Like that's gonna be the.
Dude, it's gonna happen. You were in the other side of it.
Are any of your girls dating yet?
No.
I mean, Abby has had a boyfriend.
Okay.
Now that does not mean she has went anywhere with him. That does not mean anything other than the fact they called each other boyfriend and girlfriend at school. They literally just like
Some light
waving
making out at
yeah.
school.
Huh?
Some light making out at school.
There was no kissing involved, and
Okay.
I can say that securely because I feel like she would tell me. But it was
Your relationship with Abby is very open.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's another thing is like our family's view on dating is very vastly different. We learned that last week. Don't have that conversation unless you're ready to have.
I'd like to hear both sides of
Heated.
you guys' discussion here.
I just
the
remember
fifth.
that's fine. My remembrance of middle school is I had a girlfriend. Did that mean anything? No, it didn't mean anything.
Okay.
And I just think it's innocent. Just
Yeah, I had a girlfriend in 6th grade.
yeah. Yeah,
So
that's all it was.
Who
That
was the
6th grade.
opposing side of this argument? Was it Red?
Yeah. But it's not even. I didn't think it was an argument. Justin thought it was getting that way.
It sounded like just with like with tonation and then like phrasing of a question. It didn't sound like argument. It sounded. I saw it potentially ruining an evening from a misunderstanding from either perspective.
Wouldn't be my first time.
You're pretty good at seeing that coming, whereas I don't.
No, I'm going to continue the conversation until it either ruins the evening or we're like, hey, we're better friends now. One of the two things happen.
There's been a couple times where I'll be chatting about something and Justin will just give me like he'll do a pass by behind me and just whisper a little bit like, hey, like not the great time, or just something to warn me, and then I'll look around and realize like, oh yeah, good call. Like, how do I abandon this right now?
Justin got so mad he ran out of the room. He's
with the dating thing?
Yeah, he's angry. He's actually breaking things. Can you hear this? Yeah, he's throwing things around. Okay,
I mean,
he's
yes, the
calmed
camera
down.
hasn't
He's
been on this whole time.
He's calmed down. He's come back.
No, it says it's been recording for an hour and 20 minutes.
Also,
Half of that was us setting this up.
Oh, you recorded all that?
there was a bit of it.
Okay, well.
There was a bit of it.
But yeah, my opinion on the dating is so I don't have a strong opinion.
Okay.
So I can support my wife in like what she feels, which is fine. Like I honestly don't care. She's of the opinion that it makes sense to me that you probably shouldn't start dating until you're of the right mindset to be thinking about like, hey, I'm going to be dating someone who I can connect with, who could then potentially eventually down the line become my life partner, whatever it is.
So at what age is that?
No clue.
I feel like she expressed it.
That's pretty much what I brought up the other day, and then Justin shut it down.
Oh, so you didn't let him get to it?
I was like, was that 17? Is that 23? Is that 25 when frontal lobes are fully?
Yeah.
So
developed?
that's where I felt like it was like, okay, this can become a real quick argument.
That's all I asked.
So
It was fair.
You seem to enjoy putting yourself in the doghouse with his wife.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, it's pretty consistent.
It is very consistent.
There's been times where you'll tell me like, uh-oh, I might be getting into the doghouse, and I'll think you're meaning like, uh-oh, this stinks, but then you'll like do one more thing to like ensure you go to the doghouse. And I'm like, well, you saw it coming and you still did it.
What's funny is me and Red have a fantastic relationship,
Yes.
but I do prod her.
So in the couple relationship, and Kyle probably has recognized this very quickly. Kyle and Red, my wife, are pretty much the same person.
Never heard you call her Red before in my life.
And it's between referencing her as. So Kyle and Kirsty are very, very like similar in personalities of like, I guess you could say triggers or
We're emotional thinkers.
emotional thinkers.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And then Morgan and I are exactly the same. Like
Very logical thinkers.
logical thinkers. Like we've joked like what would happen if like one of us
If, in an alternate universe, if the marriages would have been different,
Yeah.
and Justin and Morgan are reading books in the study, and the house is burning down while me and Kirsty have a luau in the background, kind of thing.
You two would be that couple that fight all the time and
Yeah.
constantly break up and get back together.
No,
It'd be so annoying to be around you.
And they're just reading a book in the study with the fireplace in the background, and
Getting along.
yeah,
we've already talked about like
jerks.
if Kyle and my wife died like on a flight or something like that, right? I don't know why they're going on a flight together.
Yeah, we're just.
If they're flying somewhere together, we got to talk about this.
We have not. That's
no concerns. Morgan and I would probably just like she would move in next door and
be
it'd be
roommates.
and it would not even roommates. It would just be like I'd be on the back porch like, hey, don't talk to me.
Yeah, and just they're by law they're married.
Yeah.
But like they just
We'll get the tax benefits.
hey,
I like it. Insurance reasons.
Right.
and me and Kirsty were the reason the plane crashed. Like that's
Started a fight in the cabin.
Yeah.
Spilled into the cockpit.
yeah.
like when both of us separately, and when we are fun, we are at the top of our games. We are just living up here. When we're down, we're way down here. Justin and Morgan go.
I've only seen Justin get I don't even want to say ornery. I don't know what the right word is. You're so even keel. The only time I remember is on New Year's. At one point, you were like, "Hey, if we don't eat some food right now, I'm gonna."
Hangry.
Yeah, and I was just like, it took me a second, and I was like, "Oh, Justin's like irritated at the moment, and I need to get some food on the grill right now. That's the only time and all the time I've seen you where you've been up or down. Other than that, you're just kind
Don't forget when the lemon hit the
Oh, that was the
hit the
same night.
seafood
Yeah.
boil.
Oh, God.
That was
I freaking hate lemon.
no, that wasn't the same night. That was not.
That
The
was
same,
a
that was
different
not.
night.
That was not New Year's because that was a tornado.
That was tornado night.
I thought Tornado Night was New Year's.
I thought that was New Year's. Yeah.
It
There was
was
no way a tornado
Yeah.
hit on New Year's. No,
Well, it didn't actually hit. It was
No,
just
no, no.
warnings.
Okay, no, maybe
Yeah.
you're right because we turned it over.
Yeah.
We turned the channel, and it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
had, we had
sure?
storms rolling in.
It doesn't sound right originally, but now he's saying it, and
It is correct
Because my sister-in-law called me that night about something.
to say Happy New Year's.
Mary tornado.
No. We were trying to play a game.
Yes,
That was tornado night. We were trying to play a game.
yes,
And that was boil
Was we
night.
playing Taboo?
yes.
Okay.
Don't play taboo with Andy.
No.
God.
And oh my god,
Me?
You and
you.
you and
You.
Stephanie, like
It was
you-
terrible.
Before we started, you and Stephanie were like, "Hey, we need to be chill and not like be poking the bear."
and then you
and
wouldn't shut the fuck up.
neither of you both are just egging each other on.
I remember that totally differently. I remember that I was being calm and she was the one that
Actually,
kept interrupting.
you
No,
were being calm.
I was, 'cause
I do remember you were being
I
calm.
had said, hey,
Ish.
and I tried to tell her in advance. I said, hey, we're not going to do our usual thing tonight. We're going to be good.
Yeah.
Ish.
And she was a little tipsy.
She
and-
was hammered.
Yeah.
And so
night.
you, and this is a kind of a you thing. You kept a conversation going during their round. You wouldn't shut the fuck up, and that
So I think
it wasn't
just-
like you were like interrupting them and like throwing a hissy. Like I think you could have, and I think you actually gave an example of that or two that night. But she was
poking the bear.
no, she was not an acceptable taboo player that evening.
Yeah.
Given the circumstances, and me and Justin were not on that same level, and we just rolled through the entire thing, and it was like
That was New Year's. Taboo
That's
was
all
New
the
Year's.
same night. I'm telling you guys.
Because
That's
we
all-
tried to play code names,
That's all the same night. Is all I'm saying.
didn't we? I don't remember. How do I not remember? I don't drink. Aside from this.
But I in my mind, it couldn't have been because we were outside just chilling. We weren't wearing.
It wasn't
coats. We weren't wearing coats.
New Year's was taboo. Code names was
New
seafood
Year's was
boil.
definitely taboo because it was 3 a.m. and then we're like, oh shit.
Yeah. There's code name. Code names, by the way, is a really fun game. If you
It
haven't
is.
played
It
it,
is.
we've
I'm kind
gotten.
of burning out on it a little bit.
We haven't played it in a while.
I don't know. That's probably because I'm kind of burning out on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I played with Red on my team once, and it was like, okay, I'm good.
You know what? I think our friendship like needs to like. I think it could be a with the like this because we went to Andy's house on Sunday for football,
Triumvirate. Yeah.
and
He just lives really far.
he does still live so.
Sorry, I moved so far from you guys. I didn't know you at the time, but I wish I had.
Well,
moved
you
closer.
have an option now.
No, I like my neighborhood. I'm staying.
Okay.
I'm trying to prove you guys wrong about the New Year's thing, but I can't find it. So
It ain't
We-
happening.
I don't even need to be proven wrong, but we were outside and it was comfortable. And it does not give tornadoes in December 31st here. I mean, it would be a extreme rarity for there to be that much heat in the atmosphere.
It was sometime after April
Yeah, because I feel like we were on a string of tornadoes.
because my brother-in-law started working at the place I work at.
I've been that not that long ago, though. No.
Yeah.
I forgot Kirsty was trying on dresses that night. Okay.
And the date of that is
Oh wait, that was for a prom for the
that's
group.
January. The prom is in January.
Oh, then it could have been New Year's.
Okay, I think you guys are correct. I think the storms were a different night.
Storms were different
Storms
night.
were
New
different
Year's.
night.
New Year's. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oh, you can put the phone.
We've
away.
had so many.
Look, we're tornado.
Late
We're
nights
we're
with
tornado experts here. There's
We
just
are in Oklahoma.
there's just not that much heat in the atmosphere in December to do
Just
that.
remember, all the kids were in the storm shelter.
Yeah.
And there was no room for any of us, and I was on the back porch. That's where I go when storms
You and I were smoking a cigar on the back porch
Yeah.
when it was like it's over yonder. It's right over there.
Pro tip for you non-Oklahomans is just record it on your phone because the cameraman never dies.
Yeah. That's what my porch looks to the southwest, which is the way the storms always come up from Moore, Oklahoma, right up this one alley, and my porch looks directly at it, so I just get to watch it coming at me. So
Yeah, if it's
there's
not moving left or right, you need to get inside.
yeah, but if there's a storm coming, I'm on the porch. That's where I prefer to be. So,
All right.
what else y'all got? Anything else?
I don't think we should burn out all of our topics on the first day.
I don't even think we've scratched a topic.
We talked about periods to make Andy
a
uncomfortable.
little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
the sloughing.
Sluff.
Did you guys watch anything on
Like
TV
how
last
he
night?
says it.
Yes, Andy, I watched.
I'm just giving you a hard
Whose
time.
line is it anyway?
Good work. You didn't have popcorn and watch anything else?
It kind of felt like Whose Line Is It Anyway at times.
It really did. It really did.
All right, we're not going any further than that.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And business decision not to talk about any politics on this because one, personally I don't want to hear other people talk about politics. I literally left the kitchen the other day because politics came up on Sunday, and I'm like, that's not my vibe. That's not what I want to do right now. And two,
That was when I.
That was one of the times that Justin was like, ixnay, and I was
you
like,
probably
oh shit,
should
my
stop that one.
bad. But I didn't bring it up. Somebody else brought it up, and
that's fine. I just don't want to have that conversation in that scene. I don't want to.
It was football day. It was football and wings and like a boatload of food.
Jesus.
That was so much food.
I ate all day long. Like I was just standing at the counter eating different shit all day long. And that's the only reason I don't think I ever got really drunk is because I was keeping my belly full of like carbs. It was delicious.
Are we doing it again Sunday?
Yeah, with less people. You guys are both welcome, but I want to watch the games this week. So we have a scrimmage at 3:00 on Sunday too.
Oh yeah, we're it's not happening Sunday because we got a game at noon.
Now I'm gonna go home and watch football the rest of the day.
Probably afterwards.
Yeah. But
I mean, well, after a 3:00 game,
Yeah.
which real quick,
we're talking second half of the 3:15 games.
you can cut this out. But fantasy update. I'm 1-0. How are you guys doing?
Want to know?
Kyle, what's going on, buddy?
There was a miscommunication on my team. I'm coaching them up. So
You're 0-1.
No, I'm coaching them up. Yeah, I'm 0-1.
Hey, his quarterback broke his leg.
Okay, at least there's no
He didn't
injuries.
break
on your
his
team,
leg.
right?
Okay, he tore his meniscus or something.
He sprained his MCL.
I did
You'll be
in high
fine.
school.
Give it 4 to 6 weeks, and you'll be right back in it.
They didn't go on the IR.
Hey, you said you were doing a trade offer this week,
I considered.
Okay.
and then you changed your mind.
I haven't unchanged my mind. It's early in the week.
Well, we'll check in. I'm undefeated. Sounds like you're
I'm undefeated. I actually was on the leader. I was on the like there's a thing at the top, and like there was a Broncos thing, and then a pair of tits, and then me with a mug.
Nice.
Yeah,
And,
I played Broncos person, and that's part of the reason I lost.
Bro,
hold on, let me
bro
get this
hit
straight.
like
You haven't
147
won a-
points.
You haven't won a fantasy game all year?
Sure. Yeah. He outscored everybody by like 20 points.
Yeah.
And I was middle of the pack,
Okay.
but I did not get top score. So
It was a bad matchup.
it was a bad matchup. Where my defense will adjust accordingly. We do not have defenses.
Don't have defenses.
Never had
You know, I was talking to a guy at work, and so like Thanksgiving, he was saying like he and his family. Which, by the way, I'm gonna probably have him come in as like a guest, like on a Teams call or something like that, because he's got 2 daughters. They're older, so he can give us advice on like having like older daughters. Anyway, funny dude. And their fantasy football league, Thanksgiving, they went out, like they went to the field behind them where there's like a school, whatever, and they tried to kick field goals.
Okay.
And all of them pretty much hurt themselves trying to do so.
right.
They came back and reevaluated their lives. Like maybe kickers should be worth more points. So they also have kickers and defenses. I guess that's the thing. I've never played
So
fantasy football.
most leagues have a kicker and a defense. That's
hate it.
standard. His league does not. So his is the odd one. I don't mind it, but
I feel like it's
Kickers
normal.
are so random. The kickers are so random and terrible. It's terrible.
I think, and I know you're the commissioner, right?
Yeah.
I really think that maybe not this year because we've already started, but next year there needs to be a punishment for last place. That's always the funniest videos. Is the guy that finishes last and has to wear a dress to blah blah blah.
We've
whatever
considered
it.
it. We're all just professional adults, and it's a lot sometimes to be like, hey, go wear a dress to Waffle House for 24 hours, and for every waffle you eat, you leave an hour earlier.
One of the punishments I saw from last year was a guy had to spend from the time they opened at like 10 a.m. until the time they closed at 2 a.m. He had to spend all day in a bar, but for every beer he had, he got to knock off an hour. And for every shot he had, he got to knock off like a half hour. Something. It was one of those.
Look, I'm
combinations.
sorry, I'm leaving in like 2 hours.
Yeah, and that's the more you drink, the earlier you get to leave.
My wife is going to come pick me up, but I'm leaving in 2 hours.
Just gonna get hammered.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And before it even really sets in, I'm going to drink all the beers.
I like it.
all of them.
Of all the punishments, I go shit. I have to stay in this bar as long as it has food. I'm good.
The lowest
Oysters?
ABV, the lowest ABV beer there is. I'm just shotgunning those things, and I'm going to get 8 down in, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes.
But then you still got 4 or 5 hours, right? I'm trying to think.
Oh, that's when the
Are you,
shots
trying to,
come.
are you trying to math right now? He's an
Yeah.
accountant.
No, I'm not. I'm a scientist.
You're a scientist now. Good with numbers still.
I'm a scientist.
Data science.
Yeah,
Okay, good work.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
it is really
It's a
cool.
really cool gig. Like, I'm so jealous of your job.
So cool.
By the way, probably shouldn't say where we work. We probably
No,
won't say where we
we
work.
have not. We are not mentioning that. I already thought about that, and
I
would cut it.
agree.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And
Until next time.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the first. When we make it big, a lot of people are going to come back and watch this.
And it's going to
God,
be
these guys
garbage.
sucked.
Yeah, why did anybody subscribe to this?
Yeah, and you're going to wonder what these idiots are doing. And
Just three dads.
and thank you for finding us and figuring out that these idiots are idiots.
But if you want to leave a comment of like what we should talk about next time, that'd be cool.
Dude, we need a show email so that people can send us emails of either stories that have happened to them with their daughters or questions.
So questions would be
Work on that for next
Phenomenal.
time. Listener email.
Oh, yeah, that gdpodcast@gmail.com. It's in the description.
Yeah. Okay. Good work.
Yeah. But yeah, put it in the comments because that helps the algorithm.
Don't forget to like.
Oh, God, I can't believe you said that. I'm cutting that out.
Don't do that.
It's going to be like, don't forget to, and Andy's just going to cut off. That's it.
Yeah.
Done. That's cool, man.
Like and subscribe.
Jesus, stop.
We'd all like
Smash
to
that like button.
What else do other people say? I don't know. But we need to figure out who we want to have as a sponsor.
I'd like a whiskey company.
Dude, if we stayed consistent with one and there was enough traction, like eventually they'll just send you free booze.
That's what. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to send us money or sponsor us, but the odds of getting some free product like that could happen.
We could do some Manscaped commercials.
So I think we should just start doing Manscaped commercials without a contract and then send
Do
it.
I have to
send it to
shave my
them.
pubes on camera?
No, we're going to shave your pubes on camera.
Yeah.
This table. if
This
you think
table
about
right
it,
here, spread
Yeah.
eagle.
That's fine.
It's like you're giving birth. It'll be great.
As long as I'm not doing it myself, that's just weird.
No, well, how are you supposed to get in the nooks and crannies by yourself? Like, Andy's going to hold the flashlight. I'm going to yell at him because that's what dads do.
While we're working on it, we'll also show how the tampon works.
So it's some bleached object.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
All right.
Thanks, guys.